Your love's like a battery charging my heart right now. And oh, you left all the things you had, but not just found. And I know you had to go, but left me not to know. Like a snake's tongue is stung, but I had to show.
You've probably seen the shot on YouTube that night, have you? When we went back to Pen-y-fai Rugby Club, there were 2 people in there, and I used the term "people" loosely.
The gypsy was absolutely battered in the corner of his vest. He was definitely on a wife beater.
And he had like Tom Jones and that blaring on the jukebox. There was no one else there.
They were just sat in the corner, right, just steaming. His missus and drinking, going, "What's your show on?" Just on his phone himself. She sat there like with a pint of squash, just literally going, "What the fucking day's going away?" He's like, "Stella!"
Fuck. I said, "Oh, I might put something on the jukebox now." The barman went, "Don't, he'll shoot you dead."
Tom Jones.
Nice pint of Guinness, though, isn't it? Anyway, should we talk about football?
Yeah.
So, well, where do we start, Rod? Where should we start? Do you want to start from the start? As a young boy, growing up, just round the corner from where we're recording this now.
Little fat boy playing for Llanrumney. Yeah, I think we, was it under 8s? I think under 8s. So what would I be now? What, 90s?
Yeah. I actually remember the game you're talking about. Down there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Turned up, obviously a load of boys, didn't know anyone. We obviously went to Welsh school down the road. Turned up, loads of boys, and it was one of them of, "Who wants to win goals?" And he was like, 1-by-1, was like, "I'm playing left wing, I play right wing, I'm a front." I'm stood there going, "That'll be me then." So, you know, under 8s we started, but I mean, fucking hell, we had a team that was so good as kids that, like, like under 8s, you win games now, but that was on a full-size pitch. So you'd be winning games 12, 13, 14, 15-0. Some days I'd do nothing. You know, and as we got older, we won the league, we won the double, we won the double. You know, then the boys start getting noticed, the better players within our group. But yeah, it was the time with Llanrumney. You know, we went on tour to Stuttgart with a school exchange. Remember the one down here?
Yeah.
When I got 2 foot in the bollocks. You know what it's like. Come on, we'll talk about that later.
Hang on, you're jumping over a couple of things there. Right? So obviously, yeah. That was a very talented team as kids. So people would have probably heard of Kyle Shepherd.
Yeah.
So a little bit old for you, probably.
No, I played with him once.
But like as a kid, how good was that boy?
It's one of those things when you talk people, and different age groups now. You see, best player I've ever seen on the parks. You go, shut up. Like as a kid, the ability that he had to do things on a half turn. I remember playing in a cup game down in Pontyclun, and he'd block the keeper off his line on a full-size pitch from the halfway line, and just ping it over his head. The keeper would be like, "Oh fuck!" Yeah. Just unbelievable ability on the ball, his vision, his shooting, his creativity, his confidence, even as a young kid on the ball. I know obviously that the Shepherd family obviously are very sporty-wise anyway, but as a player. I mean, Kyle went on to sign for Chelsea, and you know, Zola knew him by name, and you know, the great names of those early mid-90 players all knew him. But unbelievable footballer, just win us games by himself sometimes, and it wasn't very often we'd have to do that. But sometimes he'd just go absolutely take the game by the scruff of the neck. And for someone who was so gifted and had such an ability, he was at Chelsea, he was at Cardiff, he was at Bristol City. You know, and all those things, but just from that age group of like under 10s, 11s through to 15s, just, you know, we had him especially on the ball. We had others in the team as well. You know, a real spine through the team. But we had great success until probably under 15s, where we started to then split up in terms of boys going off on trials and playing for clubs. Stephen went to Swansea. Ben, where did Ben go? Stitz went somewhere as well.
How good was he as a kid? Because he was a striker, first of all, wasn't he?
Stitch started as a striker, so our spine in the team, which we'd say was strong, was myself in goals, Stephen Healy at centre-back, Shep, Kyle centre midfield, and Stitch was the striker. And as long as the four of us were playing, no disrespect to the rest of them, but we had a decent chance of winning. Stitch started as a 9, and then Kyle's dad, Alan, was managing us with John Healy. I can't remember the reasoning for it. They moved Ben back into centre midfield. The vision that guy's had on a football, him and Kyle as a pairing, were just untouchable. Loves a tackle, even now, loves to put a tackle in and try and hurt somebody, although you wouldn't think it off the pitch. But just incredible vision on a ball, and what a striker of a football. Do you remember the goal against Intercable?
I do.
We had to win the game. It was last game of the season. If they won the league. If we won the league. I think we're drawing 1-1, 2-2 late on.
And Intercable, you had the same team you'd always had, plus Alex Gray, who'd come in later on, who went on to play for the Dracs, and his dad ran the Dracs, basically, Alec, didn't he, for years.
Yeah.
And Intercable was like a representative team from the rest of the city. They'd literally picked them all and brought them into this one place.
It started off as, do you remember what's his name? Richard Evans, left winger. He played for Hale here when we were like under 10s, 11s. Then they formed another team. Then they brought Anthony Storer in and James, can't remember his name, striker. James Evans, striker from Danes Court. They then came in. Then they brought a couple of boys in from the Valleys, and it was a beast of a team. But they literally picked the best left back, the best left right back, the best left winger. Yeah, 2-2 going into injury time, and I remember to this day down what is now the rugby pitch, what was our old football pitch. Came down, Stitz on the half volley edge of the box, and he just went ping ping off both posts, and then we won the game and we won the league. That was probably the end of what was us collectively before, as I said, people went off different directions.
So you had Kyle who went to Chelsea, not immediately, and then Stephen Healy, bless him, who went off to Swansea City, and Stephen actually did 1 year professional, 2 years professional.
On the old days on the Vetch.
Did you ever play with Stephen?
No.
You said he would have been, when you were a young goalkeeper, he would have been about. But he was like, because what did he do in the Welsh League after he'd finished? He was Garden Village with his mate for a while.
Llanelli for a bit.
Llanelli, Garden Village, and I'm sure he played for someone else in the Welsh League as well, before he obviously then went off into the military.
Yeah, and what, as a player, and I talk about it quite often by him, as a lead, you know, people talk like John Terry as a leader in the pro game. Even as a young age, captain of our team, grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. If someone wasn't doing their bit, he'd call them up on it, which, you know, unfortunately with the snowflakes these days, you can't do it. But actually a proper leader of men, even as kids. So I'm not surprised he went on to, you know, military and do what he did.
Did it surprise you he was in a leadership role in the military?
No.
Having, you know,
Not at all.
There aren't many 10-year-old leaders nowadays.
So, you know, it was amazing. They said then that the team got broke up and went in different directions.
But there was a, after the cup final, wasn't it? It might have been under 14s, I think, when there was a Luton Town scout. Now, Luton back then would have been in Championship in the old money.
Yeah.
So, I think Luton Town scout, and it was yourself,
me,
Carl Shepherd,
and
was it Gareth Cleverly?
Yeah. It was earlier than 14s. I'll tell you when it was. It was the three of us. I think we played Ely Rangers, and I know you'll know this because you're doing loads of them, but I made 2 saves in the game, and I thought, how the fuck did I do that? Just random reaction stuff for doing it. And the three of us got invited up to Luton Town for David Priest, his testimonial
against Man United.
It was against Man United, so we're invited up nice and early in the inner sanctum. We're in the players' entrance, stood in the doorway, you know, saying hello, meeting everyone. This is so and so, nice to meet you. And there's a load of these young Man United players all coming outside, right? And I know he knows where I'm going with this.
This is famous in our family, right? This is brilliant. So
I'm stood at the door, and it's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. How are you? You know, Rhodri, and people going, not quite sure how to say your name, but okay. You know, hello, seeing all these players. And there's outside, there's thousands of young kids, women, girls all screaming for all these players, and they're all coming back out, and they're all going out to sign autographs and going up, everything. This guy comes past, says, oh, hello, how are you? I'm like, hiya, you okay? Gone out past me. Dad said to me, who's that? I said, that's Phil Neville's shit, right? Gets better than that.
Yeah.
It wasn't Phil Neville's shit, it was David Beckham.
My dad actually said to him, do you want to get his autograph? And Rhodri says, nah, he'll never make it. David Beckham, never make it.
I know my shit back, Alex Ferguson, I know what I'm talking about.
That's why we never listen to you about outfield players moving forward, Seaward. That's
Don't listen to me about goalkeepers all the time, it's fine, go anywhere. But anyway,
Beckham, he'll never make a player.
we had that, the David Priest testimonial, and then we were told that we were going to be contacted and summoned, if you like, for the next couple of weeks later on in the season for pre-season. How can I put this? An invite was sent, not to myself or Kyle. So Kyle and I never went. The other person did. Not that I ever hold it against him, but it didn't happen. And in those days was you'd have one chance. So we had that. It didn't work out with Luton.
Well, I don't think it's even in those days. Like, if you call someone now for a trial, and you're told as a club, the other two don't want to bother, well, you don't ring them again, do you?
No.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
If you were a scout, I wouldn't.
So it didn't happen for us. We came back. I then went to Cardiff City for a while, which is a bit of an interesting thing because that's the old days where, sure, with them, you train with your own team, and then it was Christian Roberts' team and Shaper's team. They want to do shooting practice. You just get called, and it's like they're doing crosses with wingers with no defenders for the strikers to just run in and tap it in.
Yeah.
I know you hated that as a player.
Yeah, you were quite
pointless.
famous for that, for loving things like that, weren't you?
It's a pointless exercise. So I'm trying to learn with my own team, getting pulled out and then going and training with these boys 3-4 years older than me. And then they decide they want to do corners unopposed, and you're just getting absolutely battered all the time. It's like, what's the point? So I played
It is
there.
a point, Dad, that I think a lot of coaches actually miss, and it's like I think I benefited from always having a goalkeeper coach, whether it was Rod at most clubs or when I was at Cumbria and Celtic, we had the cat. It was like,
Churchy.
no, he coached Churchy. Yeah, we had the cat from the academy, hell of a bloke, and it was like shooting practice for players is actually shit for goalkeepers.
Dreadful.
Because they're not getting the reps in, really. It's too slow for the players, for the goalkeeper to be getting up and down, up and down, up and down. So it was only then that I understood, when I worked with you for a couple of years, that I understood why professional clubs give contracts to training goalkeepers. And it's because their actual goalkeepers need proper training. They don't want to be facing shooting practice every day because it's pointless for them. Because proper finishing is inside the box, isn't it?
Yeah.
You probably make 3 saves in 10 minutes. Well, your head's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It's right, and that's why a lot of the drills that we used to do was based on 40 minutes hard work for him from realistic shooting positions of repetition. He'd face maybe 100 shots, but it would all be based on angles that he would face during certain times of the season, whereby some of them are edge of the box fluffs, and you've got some that are like on the edge of the 6-yard box and they're proper smashing it. I never saw the benefit of that whole you may as well have just put a traffic cone there, because that's what it was essentially.
Yeah. But so I remember being away at Bargoed. I think someone mentioned it on Twitter this week. You saved a penalty that night for Llanrumney.
Oh, okay.
0-0 draw.
Oh, yeah, the 0-0.
The one with the old
we were
dust.
going for the championship.
The dust
Yeah, I
It was
remember
on
that.
the rugby pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And for some reason, this team that had struggled all season ran us ragged when we were top of the league, didn't they?
You won us you kept us in the
Basically kept us in the game and got us a point that, in the end, was the difference in the league, wasn't it? A few weeks later. But I remember that night, Rod warming you up in the goal. And were you already married then, or was your wedding coming up to Amanda then?
No, I don't.
No, I was already married, yeah. I was married, but
Yeah,
she'd
you were,
gone
yeah.
back home
Yeah.
while we were waiting for the visa.
Right. So,
I know where you're going with this.
but I'm stood on the halfway line with Ben Stitfall during the warm-up, and he looks down, right, and he says, "Who do you think loves golf more, Amanda or Rod?" Right. And I sat and thought about it for about five seconds and thought, I'm not actually sure, mate. So what clicked with you two from your perspective? Because Rod's worked with a few keepers, and we'll talk about them tonight. But like your working relationship famously just seemed to work from day one. Like, well, what was it about what you're like that suited him, and vice versa? What was it?
I think it was that Rod used to involve me in the training. He'd be like, all right, what do you think you want to work on? And then he'd created a routine for me at Llantwit, which we stuck to them throughout the whole time together. It was just religious. You knew what you were doing. Yeah. You knew the score. And I think it was that routine that I missed. And I appreciated that he was willing to take his time out and actually train me, because pretty much all the other clubs I was at didn't have a goalkeeper coach. Yeah. So having someone who was dedicated to me, that actually like took an interest in what I did and pulled me out of those shit shooting drills and was like, all right, we're just going to, like Rod said, beast you for 40 minutes. Yeah. And it was just, it was that brought me on. I felt a little bit better every session. I felt I was getting better, and that was why I kept turning up. And
I think that's the man. Chris is right. I'd say to him sometimes, if his back was sore or whatever, right, we'll tailor that, we'll do that, we'll do this. But I was honest with him from the start and gone, right, especially the team we had with Llantwit and a lot of the time where we dominated possession, we'd be saying, right, you're going to have 4 games a season. 4 games a season where you're going to be called on, realistically. As not, all right, it's not 4-1, but you're going to keep us in the game. Yeah. And goalkeeping is unnatural movement. So we'd be talking about that whole thing about, Chris is a big guy, getting down to your ankle like that takes repetition, it takes hard work. So we do 40 minutes, always 40 minutes, no more, no less. And go, right, if you want to join in with the boys and have a kickabout and just have a 20-minute blowout, fine, but you're done after 40 minutes. And he would be blowing out of his ass. And I've done those sessions with other keepers, which we'll come on to later, where, if you remember, like James Beckham, when we did it with STM. Yep. I told he had spaghetti bolognese an hour before coming. He was spewing on his hands and knees. It's one of those things of going, that's the set. Chris is probably the only goalkeeper where I've done it, where it's just, right, that's the set, right, get on with it. Not, my back's hurting, I got a bad knee, or, I feel a bit tired going into the game. The routine's the routine for a reason. It gets you warm, it gets you ready, it gets you sharp. Yeah.
I can think of a few goalkeepers that came training with us over the time when we're actually sick or near to. It was just like a common theme kind of thing. That you'd try and you'd beast me, and like I got used to it, and they come and they think, oh, it ain't that difficult. And then by the end of training, they can barely stand.
It's also the drills and stuff we do of an actual when we're together training, but it's also down to things that I've done lots of times for you over the years, is going and watch other teams and knowing how their set plays are and videoing them and writing them down on how they attack where they aim at, where the players go, and that little bit of information that I was able to give would help Golton be in, whether it's got to be front post, back post, they drop it in the middle, wherever it was. He was always a strong commanding keeper, but knowing where they drop the ball and where these players try and do and hang out was.
Yeah, I remember when we were going for that title with Llanrumney, and we were playing Aberfan, and you'd gone to watch them a few times, and you said the striker likes to hit it early, and you were like, when Dom will go to press him, he's gonna
try and clip it through his legs.
And I was just always set ready for it.
What was his name? Powell,
that's right.
He got a knee injury.
His knee went bad. Great striker, but he was one of the only ones, and we'll talk about the other one in a minute. But as a first-time snap, the amount of times you watch him go and he'd wait for that. Chrissy, what's his name? Plays for Darren, the other one, the bald guy with the beard.
Oh, what you got to bring up?
Chris Owens.
Did he score against you Saturday?
He scored fucking 2, yeah.
He's the same.
Well, you got to bring that up.
He's exactly the same. As soon as that goes, as soon as the step, it's like bang, straight back across you, and if you're not set, you're not ready, you're fucked, it's gone. Yeah. So, yeah.
He's such a natural finisher.
Great striker.
Jesus,
brilliant striker.
His 2 on Saturday, you just shrug your shoulders.
Natural ability.
Just go fucking...
He carried that Pen-y-fai team, didn't he, that 1 year?
The 1 year,
when he was just every time on TV and running off, celebrating. Magic.
They're very good this season, I've got to say. So, when you got like 14, 15, you went from the little tubby keeper, you did that thing that all Morgans do, they go like that. They have a growth spurt between 12 and 14. And then the height we are when we're 14 is the height that we remain for the rest of our lives, right? So he did the same thing. So he went from the little chubby keeper to county 200-metre champion. And he's now playing in the backs in rugby, doing the kicking and everything else. So that leads you into the world of playing for what should be a more famous Sunday League team in Cardiff than it is, Broadway Snooker, with me and several of the Grange Quins team at the time. So Darren Ainsworth, Paul Williamson, Carl Warren, Leighton, Andy Gorman, all these people. So at 15, what on earth did you make of that changing room, first of all?
I think you're right, I disappeared from football, went to play rugby for a while. Had a really good season with Cardiff schools. Different these days, so Cardiff schools rugby back then is like you play 15 and then you go into the wilderness, and if you don't get into the youth team and then the first team, you're fucked. So how many players get cast aside? Now it's different. There's every year as an age group and they build it. I think I finished with Cardiff schools. I was playing rugby for Rumney, and there was a cock up on where we were playing. I thought we were playing at Llanrumney Rugby Club. We were supposed to be playing somewhere else. And it got to the point, I wasn't sure, days before mobile phones, couldn't get hold of anybody. So I just said to my dad, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, I said, let's go and watch Gareth play football. And you were playing on the old Canton, what is now Fitzallen School is. Yeah. And where the new athletics track is, when it was the old fields. Like a little building for the dressing room. So I turned up to watch Gareth play on a Sunday. Dad and I just wanted something to do, and we turned up and watched, and I think you had 12, didn't you? And
12 or 13.
And it's one of those, I just stood on the touchline, to be fair, and they've looked at me.
With that squad on a Sunday, we only needed about 9.
Yeah.
So 12 was a good number.
A few of them were struggling. It was a boggy pitch, it was horrible, and some of the older boys had clearly gone on the piss the night before and were struggling. Yeah. And they just asked Gareth, said, does your brother want to have a game? And I remember saying, you're 15, it's all right, go and have a game. So I remember playing, this will make a lot of people laugh who don't know me, put me on the right wing, went round the keeper, scored a goal, and then we had a season whereby literally just stand on the touchline as a goalkeeper and as a kicker in rugby, quite easy. The boys in the midfield would dominate the ball, give me the ball, one touch, clip it, and either Gareth or our other striker would just run in and tap it in or head it in.
Should we name him because he watches the podcast? Mal.
My northern friend.
Mal Dickinson. Although he never used to head it in because he's never headed the ball in his life, but other than that.
Yeah. The best northern striker that I've ever played with.
The best northern striker with the name with the initials MD.
So I love playing with the boys there because they look after me, and I'd be playing against left backs who were fucking hopeless. But just knock it past them and cross it in, it wasn't hard. But in the odd game where people obviously looked at me and thought, he's young, a few times it happened, and en masse I was well looked after. And they were a great bunch. They were great guys, to be fair. We go back, even at 15, 16, we'd go back to Broadway Snooker, we'd have a game of pool, we'd have a laugh, we'd have a bit of food. That then resulted in moving in and playing on a Saturday for a while, until that all went tits up that one famous day. Monachdy. The biggest brawl I've ever seen in my life. On the pitch, in the dressing rooms, it finished the Saturday. But honestly, that was the end.
Their Saturday team, it was the last game they ever played.
All right, so they just thought, let's go for it.
Fuck it. It was brutal.
It was absolutely ridiculous, and there was the club captain got attacked in the changing rooms after the game as well. It was mad. It was a shame.
People had half an ear a bit ripped off.
It was a shame because I tell you what, they were the best laugh, I think, as a group of guys. Just an amazing group, just nutters.
It was great. You could turn up on a Sunday morning, half of them were pissed, some of them didn't even have matching boots, but just great boys who played obviously to a decent level on a Saturday, went out on a Saturday night, had a beer. Sometimes you'd have to pick one or two of them up on a Sunday, which it's just, for a 15, 16-year-old, it was an amazing eye-opener, to be fair.
Remember the carrot?
Oh, yeah.
The carrot. Yeah. We won't go into too much detail about it, but there was one of our players was known as the carrot because he used to go out on a Saturday night, and one of his party pieces was what was the place, the wine press they used to go, which is like 50-plus-year-old single women at 1 o'clock on a Saturday night was like a late drink for like that sort of crowd. And these lads are in their mid-20s, and they go and pick women up there, and part of their routine when they get them back to their house involved a carrot. We'll just call it, we'll just leave it that way. So he was known as the carrot.
He was known as the carrot.
It was like, but what you'd hear the stories when they turn up the Sunday morning, you just like, these guys live a different life to me. Like, my life is nothing like this. I felt boring.
Some Sundays, he'd turn up with a carrier bag with his boots and the carrot.
Yeah.
With the story from the night before. What a man.
Been busy, mate.
Yeah. I think the big thing with that team, with that group of people, which obviously the Saturday and Sunday was great fun, was the social aspect of it. Like the Sunday, if you think of it, quite often we go to the old Maltins in Canton. Pound a pint and a Sunday dinner for £3.
Nice.
So it's like, I'm 16.
Roger used to just say, fuck the beer, he'd have 2 dinners.
3. I'll change that for 10.
3 dinners and a pint, and he was happy for a tenner.
But that's the type of thing now, and I know we talked about it quite often, is the social aspect of football and after football. Not say it's gone, because it hasn't, but how many now just want to play and go. And that's where you find the teams struggle when it comes down to you've got to fight for each other, is you'll have a small group who will drink and socialise, but actually shows you how important that aspect is to football.
Very true. Yeah. So we could talk about Broadway all day, because I got more stories about them. I know you only played for him for a little while, but like, what did you make of Chris Williamson as a manager in that team? Because I've still got him down as my best ever manager, in terms of, for me.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't out there with a tracksuit. I know he wasn't there with a clipboard, and he wasn't tactical and everything else. He was an ex-pro that his son played for the team, and he was one of the boys, even though he was a fair bit older than the players. But just, I don't think I've ever seen a manager that respected in a dressing room of absolute fucking lunatics.
No, I talk about later on, but I do, like, I found Chris, I went to school with Chris's daughter, Kerry. I know you went to school with Paul.
Yeah.
Dean played with us as well for a bit, right. The other brother. Yeah. But you're right, from that is from a dressing room that is basically like a jungle, the piss taking and everything else. When he came in and it was time to talk about, it was never overly tactical, but it would be about where team you can get at teams and look at this and there's space there and everything else. But on a one-to-one level as well, sometimes you go, don't do that. Try that. And I mean, as someone who's been a goalkeeper all my life and been playing outfield because I was quite fast and I could cross decent, is he just go, don't go in there, just stay out wide, let the boys find you, and then take a touch, in you go. Very simple instruction, but don't be too eager as a kid. Go in looking, hold your shape, create the space, boom, off you go. Simple, but effective. But yeah, you're right, from a guy commanding so much respect.
I
don't think I've ever been in the dressing room with anyone before or after who did that.
Yeah.
The boys would just stop.
I don't think I ever saw anyone have a go at him. And there was never anyone in the pub, what did he do that for today? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he was just,
top
guy.
Guy.
For me, it was only Sunday football at that time. I lost a bit of interest when he stopped running the team, because part of what used to really get me still wanting to play on a Sunday when I was playing Saturdays and travelling about and that was him. Because it's a shame he wasn't at a more competitive level managing, but that was just wasn't on his agenda. He had his family and that sort of thing. But what a guy!
A great guy.
What a guy! But so then, youth football.
Oh, that was a laugh.
Youth football, so the old Maguirta Youth League. Yeah. So for those who don't know what that was, there was a national youth league. Yeah. You play each other once. You're too young for that, aren't you?
Yeah.
And about 16 teams, I think, from Richie Ryan talking the other week. So look, some years you might end up away at a lot of really top clubs and other ones not. But Cardiff Civil Service were one of the teams in it. So Rod comes in to join the team that's a year younger than him to play for John Lawrence. Tell us about John Lawrence, first of all.
I think when you talk about like the players, we had a good mix of players. Obviously, I played with Midge, with Lawrence, who obviously then played with Llanrumney.
So that's Christian Roach and Lawrence Porch.
Lawrence Porch,
Yeah.
Mikey
Jones.
Gagsy, Gareth Davis.
Yeah, Gareth Davis, who played Welsh League. Midge played Welsh League.
But we had a really good side. They were very young, good side. But it was one of those, going away to some of these places, like I remember the one time we went to Skewen. I remember turning up on a bus, and I remember Lawrence saying to me, what the fuck? Now,
Did you ever play Skewen?
No, where's that?
So it became Neath. Remember when Neath were the kiddies? When they started off being the kiddies, they were Skewen, right? And you turn up at this ground, and it was
tin.
There were two pitches side by side, all right? So the car park's here, the park's pitch with no paraphernalia around it at all, no barriers, nothing is here. Change room's here. So you walk across the pitch, and the entire ground was just surrounded by
Corrugation.
Corrugated iron all the way
and
around.
the roof.
Maybe about 8-9 feet high.
Yeah.
So just a park's pitch with a sheet of iron around it, like that.
a prison.
And then you walk through the door, and it's like a average little Welsh League ground, you know, what you probably see in the Alliance League nowadays, right? With a stand but no seats, but you didn't need it back then. Anyway, they had like back-to-back promotions as Skewen. So that's where he's talking about. But Park's pitch with a steel thing around it, basically. Like nowadays, you would turn up and go, what is this?
But you're talking about John Lawrence. You look at that as a comparison. We talk about, you know, how Chris Williamson would be able to go, don't do that. And really sort of just a one-to-one tactical, and you go, yeah, got it. Not with John. John would walk in, sometimes you'd be like, all right, I'm just doing my own thing here. And, you know, he put some things on the board and talk about this and try and do that and drop in here and do that and do that. And I'm looking at the players thinking, they don't know what you're fucking talking about. It's like, you know, but just loved his football, loved the boys, loved the whole process of everything. I've just used that word. Loved everything of what we were doing with the football. But in terms of, like, you know, if you had to look at a game, managers can look at it and go, no, that we're struggling in there, put someone in there, or there's a load of space, let's move that around.
He was probably, when me starting coaching football, he's probably the most influential person in my life in football, John Lawrence, right, strangely. He's the one that got me involved coaching in the first place with his junior team, and then he was the one that sort of pushed me to go on, run my own team, even though I was still very young. And then, you know, sort of bit of a mentor for years, like, but a very unique personality.
Yeah. But
I loved him, and the players that worked for him, played for him for years, loved him.
I loved the guy. He was an amazing guy. He's just one of those just
people that came in from outside didn't get him, and that was the tragedy. When I used to see him bring good players in, that I thought, oh, that'll enhance his team. They didn't know how to take him, and I think if those people had just given him 6 weeks, sometimes they'd be like, this guy's nuts, but he's a good bloke, and he's like a guy. Because honestly, he used to live for his football
full
team.
on.
Live for it, like, what a guy.
But I think with it as well, and I know I touched on this earlier, he'd have no problems in calling a spade, you know, if I fucked up, and he'd tell me about it, and he'd make sure that I knew about it. Now again, modern players can't take that direct criticism. You fucked up today.
Yeah. Do you know what he said to me once, right? I always remember it. The previous season, my junior team had won the league and lost in the cup final in extra time. So 12 months on, we've won the league again, and we're playing the same team in the cup final. But we're more dominant now than we were the year before. So like, it'd be a massive upset if we lose this game. I've got quite a few players in our team that went on to play Welsh League football for many years, right? So, but anyway, after, what was I playing at the time? 4-4-2, I think, yeah. It would have been 4-4-2 back then. So John had this thing about 5-4-1, and he passionately believed in it, right? 5-4-1. And who's to say he's wrong? Because his 5-4-1, if you look at it, if you did a opta of it, it's probably hammering 3-4-3 nowadays, right? And how it actually used to work. So, no worries. Anyway, we kick off, we pass it back, and 2 seconds later, the ball's in our net, we're 1-0 down, right? We go on to win the game 5-1. So we win the double, unbeaten, happy days. That's the end to junior football, happy days. The phone rings in the house. Right? It's John.
That's a blast from the past. The phone. Yeah.
I know. John Lawrence, right? John Lawrence. John, just ringing to say well done. Blah, blah, blah. Enjoyed it. Thought the boys were brilliant. Blah, blah. Can't help but think though, if you'd gone 5-4-1, you wouldn't have let that goal in the first 6 seconds. It's like, we won 5-1, John. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But he was just that passionate.
Yeah, it was.
That like, if he'd won that game, he'd have been like, well, what about the one? Do you know what I mean? So I didn't give a shit. But just different personalities. But I'm glad Rod got to play for him, because Rod never used to get him. Whereas I used to say, I love this guy, he's a legend. Rod used to be like, oh, he just looks a bit of a dick to me. Like, but as soon as you actually spend any time in his company, just a man with a real good heart and
Lovely guy.
and like would do anything for his players, just a top bloke.
I remember at the end of the season, remember the trophy he gave me?
Yeah.
End of the season, I had a special award. A fucking Buddha. Like, laziest trainer, how an ass. For someone who used to harp on about it all the time, you go, yeah, that's a fair point.
So after youth football, though, then you have a little bit of a kind of break from the game completely, don't you?
So I was then 18, so I got a job quite quickly after finishing or college. I worked First Choice Holidays for 4.5 years, where obviously that entailed working weekends, so I couldn't commit. I'm not going to be one of them that obviously happens in modern day, where someone signs to you and then goes, I work 3 Saturdays in 4. Life was very different with that, and then probably 2005-6, I came back to Cardiff to work, and I'd managed to negotiate with work of saying, look, can I work 4 long, including a Sunday, can I work 4 long days? Can I have a Saturday off because I can play football? And Phil Booker, Eggy, got me into the Dracs in 2006. Had a year playing there in goals. Some very good players there. Obviously the Dracs then is very different to what it is now, but a lot of those guys are still involved.
Barry Dunstan playing?
Barry was playing. I talk about Barry later. Barry was playing from a striker perspective. Did you ever play with him?
Yeah, many times.
What a player.
Yeah.
And what I'd say on that is I played for the Dracs on a Saturday and a Sunday. I also had the privilege of playing with a young Willow. Those two as a front pair were just unreal on a Saturday.
People forget Willow was a striker.
On a Saturday, when they played together, Barry and Willow together as a pair would be scoring 50, 60 goals a season between them, and you knew if one wasn't firing, the other one was on it. And I like talking about there with the Broadway boys, spending time with the Dracs and the community centre, that's never changed. That's always been the hub. There's the same people involved. Alec, bless him, is no longer with us, but Alec was a major factor in getting me to the Dracs as well, because Alex Gray, my friend, was playing there. Alec was Mr. Dracs. There's guys there now. Di's still there. Shella's still, they're on committee. There's a lot of boys there who've been there. Matthew Hennessy's involved, who were there watching, supporting, playing when I was there back in 2006, are still there now. And it's great to see what they've gone on to do, and Nana's doing a good job. In terms of with the boys there and the ground and the dressing rooms and everything. But that was an amazing place to play. And the old days, people would turn up and look at those flats and think, here we go. But playing against Barry and against Willow, you knew full well that if you conceded 3, you'd probably score 4 or 5. And the amount of times that happened were just unreal. Those two boys were just amazing. So
is there a smaller home and away dressing room anywhere in Wales than what it was back then?
Cillian.
No, home and away. Cillian's away dressing room back in the day was obviously
a shoebox
nonsense, but I remember being in the Dracs home dressing room and going it's about half the size of my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like 15 people in
Get
there.
changed in the shower. They've obviously changed it now.
Yeah,
and the referees' dressing room and everything.
That's
It's a
right,
great facility. But
What they've done there is brilliant, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, fucking fair play to them, like.
and they've enhanced it again.
Yeah.
You know, they've made it a much better. I think they've got 2 stands there now. They've got the
Yeah.
supporters' entrance. It's a really good setup there. But yeah,
I hope
fantastic people.
that stays that way for a long time now. It's a good club. It's got a good people running it. It's got a good team. It's well coached. It's well managed. Please just all stay together, like, because like we've seen this before so many times, haven't we? You see a club, and then all of a sudden the huge money starts getting thrown around, and that team drops. The club starts to drop down, and you're like, oh, we've seen this before. Like, if they can just stay together.
Yeah, and it's amazing. So that day I had a season there. Then I went to Llantwit Major. Bit random how I ended up there. Bear in mind I live here. Ended up at a season at Llantwit Major. Again, a club now that's done fantastic things off the pitch in terms of the ground. When it's windy there, it's fucking windy there, as we know from playing there. Had a season there, but I think my highlight of that is that I made my debut against Avon Lido in a pre-season friendly, and I just had one of those games where you just saved everything. You know, it was like the Alamo. We won 1-0, and everything was just like bang, bang. People were going, "Fucking hell, what's he doing there?" I thought, yeah, that was the end. It went downhill after that. I enjoyed that, and another community club that are like their clubhouse is there. You know, the cricket. It's really good. It's the whole community thing. The boys again there. So Tim Watts is now, I think he's vice. I thought he was on Scotty. I think he's vice chairman now. John Guy. Great people still involved there. A lot of guys who were involved around the coaching at the time have now become committee men, and they've done a lot of work as well. So I had a year there, but I'd always said that was coming up to when Eve, my eldest, was being born, and I'd always said I'd play until that season, until I wanted to be home when Eve was born. It was a great year, good season. Got injured a couple of times, and I think that's probably where I started to think about, I can't play for much longer. I know that's ridiculous because I'm only like 25, but just my body was just giving up. Although one thing I would say is we had a wicked tour in Benidorm. We were in Benidorm. That's the first year of the new Wembley when Chelsea beat Man United in extra time. I think Drogba scored. And we had such a laugh on the tour that I got so pissed on the FA Cup final day that we ended up playing bingo with some people in their 70s, and I think we drove their scooter down the road, but as you do.
So lately, like Ibiza final boss has been all the rage on.
Yeah.
Would you classify yourself as like Benidorm final boss from a couple of escapades you've had from Magaluf and Benidorm over the years? I'm pretty sure if he wandered onto the square in Magaluf today, they'd be throwing themselves all over him because they can remember him.
I got a fucking statue.
The one thing, when we were talking with Stance about his fucking escapades in Magaluf when he spent the entire kitty in one night, one bit of information we didn't give was he was spending so much money with Coyote Ugly, right, that they actually brought a bottle of Sambuca over, right, and went to put it in front of him on the table to share out amongst the boys as like a look, you've spent hundreds with us in like half an hour, so have this. And he went, go and give it to that hen party over there.
Class.
You prick, innit?
I've actually got something to add to that. So yes, I gave that bottle away in BCM Square. The other thing we did, I can't remember what night it was on, it might have been that night, I don't know.
We didn't come out the next night, so it couldn't have been that night.
It might have been the night before then. Because in a lot of these places, it's like, you go in, there's 15 of us, what will you give us? And a lot of time you're like, a bottle of Sambuca, I still have that. So I can't remember what it was, right? But I'd laughed about it the other day. We were given something as a bottle with the spout in it, and I know that I walked out of that bar with it, and I'm on the street, the high street in Magaluf, just going, hey, come here, Abba, hey, come here, Abba this. Just no idea. Yeah.
That place is carnage.
I wouldn't quite class myself as the final boss, but
No, but
Boss.
you're not
Boss.
getting the irony. There's Ibiza final boss.
he didn't do anything. He just danced about.
Fucking Benidorm
Benidorm
final
boss.
boss. Or would you be more like
Blackpool final boss, probably.
Butlin's Minehead final boss?
Yeah, yeah, probably Butlins. Yeah. But yeah,
So we then, obviously I'd been coaching a little bit already by then with junior and youth football. But then initially, Llanrumney United, so Lee Bridgman's manager, I've gone back to play after my Aberraman season. I've lost about 4 stone. I'm back now playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one last year of playing. And I'm coaching as well. And you came in and did a bit there, but reluctantly, wasn't it?
yeah, I think the one bit we missed out there is I stopped in 2007 when Eve was born in the October. Had a few clubs asking about, what were my thoughts on when she was born and was I going to come back and was I not? And about Eve was born in the October, so I finished in the May. About 3 days after Eve was born, Phil Preen from
Pontyclun,
Preen contacted me about going because their keeper was going to America or Australia, I think, travelling. So would I come in and play there? That was probably the point where I realised I can't fucking do this anymore. I was playing, I was training, I was fucked. I'd have a day where I felt all right, then I'd play, I'd be wrecked till training. So I was there for a short period of time to help them out. And then, the
He's
Llanrumney.
the world's youngest old man, isn't he?
Oh, I'm terrible.
He's talking
Body falling
he's like
apart.
25 years.
I know.
Body falling,
25,
body
body-
falling to pieces.
That's what happens when you just sit on a sofa
I
and
know.
don't fucking get up.
Unfortunately, I didn't play for a while, did I? So, so I was there for a while, and then I came. I can't remember how that came about with Bridgie.
I think there was Russell Martin used to play in goals, but he picked up an injury, and he managed to wheel you out of retirement for a few weeks, didn't he?
Yeah, where did we play with? We played away
In the cup,
where Leon scored.
pouring down with rain. Yeah, it was. Oh God, they're coming up through the leagues now.
It was like playing on a swamp.
Oh, I can't remember where it was.
Brinner. Horrendous. It's one of those games, right? And people ask about Leon and obviously see Leon Jan and see what happens on when he's played on videos and stuff. But we played the game. I remember we won the game 1-0.
Yeah.
We got battered the whole game.
Yeah.
I was making saves again. He was hitting me, and that was one of the games I thought, I can actually do this. I remember the ball going from left to right, and Leon had gone out on the right wing in an absolute bog. Someone's hit it left to right. It's literally come outside on his right foot. He just killed it, chopped it, and just bent it in the top corner and just running off like that. And just one of those things you just think, fucking hell, what a player.
Unreal.
Yeah, he can do
Unreal.
stupid
Unreal
things,
ability.
Yeah,
So I played there for a while until Russell came back. And it was it was good with there, and then I wasn't really into coaching much or doing anything. Then it was like I played to help out and do a bit, and then again I just sort of turned up and watched the boys. I was on the bench, and then I think that was the end of the desire to be able to play.
End of that season, then though, Lee Bridgman goes to My Stake Park, and despite my coaching background, Llanrumney don't want me to take the job. So I think, fuck you. And I go and get a Croesyceiliog job in the Welsh League. Right. So that's obviously when you now go into properly like goalkeeper coaching formally.
Yeah.
So our first goalkeeper properly, Rhys Naden, first season.
Was it?
Yeah. Rhys Naden from Cardiff Corries.
When did Charles come in?
After Rhys Naden got injured.
Yeah, he did, because Nades did his knee at
Yeah.
Steg, didn't he? Yeah.
He
did.
Yeah,
Smashed it.
originally he did it there. So Rhys Naden, first of all, unfortunately got a bad injury and don't think he ever really played properly again.
Boy's doing well. His lad's
Yeah.
doing really well for Barrytown.
Yeah. So, but then your first proper bromance with a goalkeeper is John Chorley then. So
Charles
where
and
did we sign Chorley from? Was it Killian?
Killian, Rogerstone, one of them. I should
Yeah.
know. Sorry, Charles, if you see this. I should know where we signed you from.
I think he had dropped down to a lower level than he should have been playing. I
We
can't
did.
remember how we finally persuaded him, but we managed to persuade him to come in, and thank God we did.
We did, and I think part of it probably is the fact that Tom was there. And Tom, his younger brother, is a great guy. We'll probably talk about later with a good attitude to training. I know he's been training with us a few times when we were with Llantwit. His attitude to it. He went on to do goalkeeping coaching as well. Charles, never knew the guy. In terms of attitude, similar to you, is in terms of we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but a little bit more where it could be fairly brutal with you. I had to tiptoe a little bit with John because he was a little bit fragile with his. Sometimes you bollock him too much. Yeah. But a great technique. I know he got injured. His shoulder, and it took a while for him to come back from that, didn't it?
I listen, he went on to do well elsewhere, right? But in my time at Croesyceiliog, he got smashed against Betis.
Yeah.
And for me, he was always a little bit afraid after that, which was...
He did get absolutely melted, Mike.
This was a big hit. It is the sort of thing that probably would make you, every time you go and take one on the edge of a box again, would make you wince. It was a hell of a hit, so I'm not surprised he was tentative. But he was never, in terms of commanding his box, he was never quite the same again when he was playing for me. No, he went on and did well. He obviously got it back. But
and you'd only say it's like that 2%.
Yeah. Still worldy.
I remember him as a shot stopper.
And still the same brilliant guy to just have around and just not a moment's bother.
But I think with Charles as well was a case of, and that's where I started it, is looking at routines and keeping that pattern for the pre-match warm-up and everything else as a routine. Charles and I got off to a tee with it. He knew exactly what needed to be done and when and all those timings and everything else of making sure he did it. Great attitude. Would sometimes go, this is in that certain right, fine, and we do it. And that was probably the start. And then looking at the coaching courses and other things. It's not like now where you can go on and you could see a million videos, different things you look at. Is almost researching how certain players, how to work on this, how to work on that. We changed his kicking style slightly, like we did with yours, and you just got that extra 5%. I kept saying about do that 5%, do that 5%, do that 5%. And all of a sudden you're a quarter of a player better. But yeah, we had a great time with him there. Obviously won the cup.
Charles had a couple of saves to make that night. We never talk about it because there were one very good and two worldy goals that night, and obviously it's a famous win and stuff. But when the scores 1-1 in that cup final, probably John Chorley and Paul Brown collectively probably were man of the match for 10 minutes. And then other people went on and did other things to win the game for us. But just, those games, where was it you were playing for Llanrumney, where it was just...
Wattstown.
Pen-y-fai.
At Pen-y-fai against Wattstown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
like one of those games you just think, we won
3-1,
and it could have been, you pulled off about 6 worldies. Amanda's got
and a penalty, wasn't it?
And a penalty.
As well, yeah.
Pulled off for 6 worldies at the road.
I brought my mate over, didn't I?
Amanda used to record all the games, didn't she? So you've probably got that somewhere.
That game, you made 7 saves. We were just at the road end, you just think, how the fuck have you done that?
Yeah, worldy.
But it was like that. One after the other.
Shirley and Brownie in that final were like you and Dom in that game. Do you know what I mean? Just everywhere.
To the wall.
Almost in the end, you make another save and you just look at the striker and laugh. Like, you ain't scoring today. One of those, So
we had obviously had that with Charles.
With Charles, we had obviously the cup win and a very good second half of the season. Following season, we make it to another cup final where we lose to Newport County, and we miss out on promotion by
crossbar
2 inches, something like that. There was one, Callum Miles hit the guy on the shoulder on the line in stoppage time, and it went and came out. If it had gone 2 inches that way and flicked his shoulder and gone in, we were up. It was that close.
We were at Newcastle Emlyn
away,
and Porth were at Killeen, weren't they?
Cummaman.
Was it Cummaman?
Cummaman, and they were already up. They drew, so we needed to win to go up, and we just couldn't get the ball over the line. Couldn't do it.
And then we were Newcastle Emlyn away. So you got that whole coach journey all the way home, thinking, "Fuck, what could have been?"
Yeah, with all the Croesyceiliog supporters who were always really sympathetic and supportive in situations like that.
Of course it were. So that was that season, and then obviously we had started the following season where we just had injuries after injuries after injuries, and
Pre-season was a joke as well, mind, because you can put a bit of it down to bad luck, but our pre-season was a joke.
shit.
And that was my first experience of a pre-season that I've seen about 4 times since as well, unfortunately. And you've got a team that's done really well for 2 years, and you're thinking 3 or 4 new signings here, and we'll be laughing. And week after week after week after week, they're not at training, they're not at the friendlies, and you're thinking this is only heading one way, yeah. And yeah, so obviously I know my perspective, and we'll talk about that another day. Like, but do you remember the day when I texted you and I was like, well, I don't know if you're going training tonight, Rod, but I've just been sacked. So how did you receive that? Because I know we'd had a hard week. We talked about it on an earlier episode. On the Saturday, we were facing Monmouth Town when they were coming up, and they'd been smashing everyone.
Danny Mack was scoring goals for fun.
McDonald was banging them in, and with 9 minutes left, we were 1-0 down, weren't we? And we just capitulated and lost 5.
Yeah.
And what was it like in the clubhouse after that game?
It's one of those. I'm not asked sometimes. You go back to the clubhouse. It's like, you know, we'll have a beer, we'll have a chat. But other times I'm not bothered. And it's just when we went back in, you know, people were like, "Hey, Rod, do you want a beer? Do you want a beer? Do you want a beer? Beer? Do you want a beer?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. Thank you very much." None of that happened. Right? It wasn't like, "Oh, food's in 10 minutes." None of that happened. So we're sat together having a drink, and he's going, "I don't like this." And I'm like, "No," I said, like, something's not right here. And like everyone was facing that way to make sure that they're not, you know, no eye contact, nothing. So I was like, "Fuck this, I'm going." So we went, and then I remember him messaging me saying, "I've had the sack," and I went to training.
Oh, yeah.
I remember? I went to training.
So this is like, I'll give you my little bit of what I was doing, and then Rod can fill in the rest of it. So I went round to Monkston, round the corner, and got on the lager at 6:30, and he went off to training.
I asked him, I said to him, "I'm going to fucking speak to the players." So I went to training, and they were like, "Why are you taking training?" I said, "I'll speak to you afterwards." Stayed there for the entire training session, went in the dressing rooms, the old Crossy dressing rooms. I'd asked Gareth to give me a few words and stuff, and I read it out. I got all the committee who'd done it, everyone in the room. I said, "Come on, everyone needs to hear this." Stood there and went like, "This is on behalf of Gareth." Read it all out, you know, thanked you for all the players for all your hard work, that. I said, "But from my perspective," I said, "I'm obviously going to, because blood's thicker than water." And some of the players were like, "What do you mean?" It's like,
Yeah, they
"I'm
were
fucking staying, am I?"
they were shocked he was leaving.
Shocking.
Because look, it's the same in any football team, right? The players that were in the team were like, "What the fuck's going on?" The players that weren't in a team, I'm sure, were thinking, "Happy fucking days, brilliant," right? But yeah, they genuinely thought Rob might stay.
So I finished, and I didn't know obviously what was coming down the track.
Came and met me at the Monkston then.
I didn't know what was coming down the track for Gareth, and again, it was one of those, having given 2.5 years hard work.
And it was
Just thought, and I didn't really have the appetite at the time. There wasn't a lot on the offering for us. I said, "I'm gonna go and watch some games and have some time at home and stuff, and just see what happens." And obviously Gareth went off to come round Celtic, which went down like a lead balloon.
Fuck him.
So he went there, you know, had some great time with great people, with Della and everything, and you know, I genuinely didn't think that anything, you know, I wasn't sniffing around trying to get involved or anything. And then in the summer, he rang me and said about, you know, Llanrumney. I was like, the first thing I said was, "Where the fuck's Llanrumney?" You know, and then it was like Newport Stadium, thinking, all right, okay, fair enough. And then we're talking about what happens and how many players we had available, and we had 7 in the first meeting session that then dropped down to 3 or 4.
I think from that first meeting, so we went to meet the players. Yeah, you're right, there were 7 there, and I think within 2 weeks, 3 of them had signed for Undy.
But 4.
And we were left with 3 or 4 of them.
Leighton, Fletch, Screeney and Jamba.
Yeah, so it would have been Leighton, Ben Fletcher, Liam Screen and Jermaine Poole. That was it. Everyone else was gone.
We had Newport Stadium
And 4 players.
Newport Stadium, 2 old men on committee, me and him, going, "Fucking hell, we're playing in this." And at the moment, even if we include the 2 of us and the 2 old boys in their 80s, we can't field the team.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was an interesting summer. So was this? Yeah, it was the second season you come in, wasn't it? The promotion
The
season.
promotion, yeah.
So that means, moving on to goalies, this is where we first encounter Ben Fletcher, Rod, who could be an episode in itself. Dealing with and talking to and working with Ben Fletcher. What was that like for you as a goalkeeping coach? Because for me, I found it immensely frustrating, and I loved the guy in equal measure.
I think you're right. I think you talk about Fletch, right? From an athletic perspective, Fletch had a physique as a goalkeeper that you just think would just go on and skyrocket. Amazing ability, but just could switch off like that. In terms of, we talked to Stance about it, where Stance is very much a case of he'll talk left back, right? Are you okay? Because he needs something to do. He can't don't let his mind go because he'll be over there with the fairies. Fletcher do things and make saves, and you think, fuck me, what a save. And then he'll do something absolutely ridiculous, and you think, I want to kill you. You remember the Llantwit Major away? Ball's going dead. It's going for a goal kick.
Yeah.
He comes charging out and straight through the striker.
Yeah.
Penalty. Like, Ben, what are you doing? The ball's that far from going out for a goal kick. What are you doing? And he's going...
Yeah. Last time I was a trio when we lost 1-0, and we're absolutely destroying them and we just can't score. And one ball over the top, and you got Jermaine Poole, probably the fastest defender in Division 3 at the time. He's got this. He's going to usher the guy out to the corner flag and all's fine. But no! Here comes Fletcher! Off his line like that. And all of a sudden, Dunny's just lifting it over him and we lose the game 1-0. So you go through it with him, and because I genuinely really liked him, right? And I just thought he had a heart of gold.
Yeah,
he just had, like... So I could always warm to Fletch, and you obviously worked with him a little bit then a year later, right? But like, and you talk to him and he'd be like, right, okay, because initially his head would go that you're blaming him, and then you talk and break it down to him, and then right, okay, yeah, I understand it, and then you do a few things in training and everything, and you go, right, we good now, so we understand, yeah, good, yeah, great. Saturday comes, ball over the top, Jermaine's ushering the guy out, here he comes. Over his head, lose 1-0 again. And you're just like, Fletch, this is the same goal. But the next week, you go to Croesyceiliog United away, and he saves 2 penalties in the same game.
Yeah. Bosses the game.
Could just, like, you know, he's 6'3".
He's a big guy.
Like, athletic, strong, could just command a penalty area. But he was one of the guys that I was talking to Stance about when we were chatting to him. He wants to be in the game, and he's not happy if he's not. So if it's a game when you're dominating, like we had at times at what is now Newport City, he'll try and get involved in the game where he should just stand back and enjoy his clean sheet, and that is, I think, that was the goalkeeping problem with Fletch. Because if you could have just given him a slightly less active mind maybe, or something like that, I mean, he could have been a worldie, honestly, just so much natural ability.
One funny story with him.
Wow.
Right? Just before we move on, obviously before Golts came in then, do you remember the game against Bridgend Street?
Where it's, what, down there?
No, at Newport Stadium.
No, I don't
So
remember.
Golts, he's playing in goals, and he gets smashed.
Oh,
And he goes
no,
down.
this is Grange
He
Quinn.
goes down.
One Bridgend Street.
Was
It's
it?
Grange Quinn.
Clutching his ankle, right? Clutching his ankle. Now I've gone on,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling his ankle, and I'm like, he's fuck all wrong with him, right? So I'm feeling his ankle. He's gone. He's broke. I'm fucked. Take it off. Right? I had to cut the laces off his boot to take the boot off. Right? I'm fucked. Stretcher.
Stretch it off.
Stretch him off. Right? This is the best thing.
And not only stretch it off the pitch, stretch it all the way off
Down
the
the
pitch,
tunnel.
down the tunnel, into the dressing room, and when we come in after the game, he's still lying on the stretcher.
So, literally, right? It's broken. He's dead. He can't play anymore. I've had to cut his laces off. It's fucked. Ring an ambulance, right? Everything else. It was on a Wednesday night, right? I've gone out to him and I've gone, fuck, what's wrong with him, right? He's fucked. Wednesday, he's going to hospital. He's going to have it replated. It's all done. It's knackered, right? Thursday, Ankle feels all right. Friday, I play tomorrow. Saturday, walks in. Matt,
We had a semi-final against Taftswell at home on the Friday night, and he turns up.
It was Tuesday, Friday. Friday.
He turns up, and we're like, no, you won't be playing. Like, I can't even, who was going to be in goals? We must have had a second key, or maybe we'd signed. At one point, we signed Reece Nade in as backup.
I don't know. It wasn't.
Anyway, right, and Nade's knee was fucked. And he turns up, and he's like, he can't believe we're not playing him. Right?
72 hours after telling me his ankle's gone, he can never play
The
again.
man was stretchered off 3 days ago.
So you think it's career's
And like,
over?
honestly, like, the histrionics, like, it might be easier if you just cut it off.
But you know what Screeny's like. Screeny absolutely battered him.
Yeah.
Absolutely ripped him to pieces in the dressing room. And that was one of the things I think from the Llantwit, which was a good lad. Obviously, Liam Screen, great guy in the dressing room. But you knew if Screeny got into Fletch,
Oh, God, yeah.
we've had tears. You know,
Yeah,
if he got into him and he tore into him bad, you know, you'd go fuck off and just walk out.
Yeah.
His head had got. He'd be like, I can't play. My head's gone. I can't play. He'd be like, what do you want me to do? I can't play. My head's gone. I said, just fucking ignore him. No.
We played Dundee the one year, right? And everyone in the area knows you get in Fletcher's head and like anything is possible. And they spent all week getting in his head. And after 10 minutes, we're 2-0 down and he's chucked 2 in. Like 10-year-old errors.
Basics.
To like chuck 2 into the net. Because they've just got in, yeah.
It was always funny.
And then
watching.
the mad thing is, like, the following week, he turns out and he's like, you're watching him and you're like, do you know if there was a pro scout here just today watching him, they'd look at his size, his physique, his athleticism, the saves he's made, his kicking, his commanding of the box, probably get a trial. But then the following week, he's just like, someone's like texted him something on the morning or he's had a row with his missus. Like,
You know the best example of that, right? You know Happy Gilmore,
Yep.
right? Jackass.
yeah,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
That is Fletch. Someone will just go jackass. His head is
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Such a shame.
You just go, shut up, like,
So
ignore it.
obviously there was a transition in our Llantwit team from Fletch being the number 1 keeper to Galt. So Galt had come back from America.
Sat on the bench for a
This is
while.
where the real bromance now is going to start. 4 weeks on the bench, and your first game's Llanelli away.
Yep.
When we're vying for the 3rd division title with Barrytown and Risket, aren't we? So we win the game. You're man of the match, if I remember right.
Yeah, 1-1 now.
Yeah, 1-0. John Boy, breakaway.
Yep.
Yeah, they still talk about that goal today, claiming it was offside.
No chance.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
No linesman. And so anyway, I'm in the dressing room after. You could talk about you two working together then, right? But I'm in the dressing room afterwards, and the phone rings, and we've won 1-0. We're all buzzing. It's Fletch. He's on holiday, and that's why you're in goals that day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
And he's gone away. And he's like, hello, like this. And he's ringing me from hospital. And this shows you how much the guy cared about football, right? He's in the hospital. And I'm like, what's the matter, mate? He's like, how'd you get on? Like, we won 1-0. Oh, well, that's me fucked then, innit? Right? And I'm like, Fletch, what's the matter, mate? Fucking fallen off a 4th floor balcony on holiday.
Yeah.
And he's like smashed
through a pane of
himself in.
glass.
Jesus. And all he cares about is the football.
Like, so in one breath, you're thinking, well, fair play to you. You should be dead, and you're still worried about how Lam Werner's got on today. That says a lot about why I liked him so much.
Yeah, yeah.
He did care.
Yeah.
And like, but then you know, it's not for the podcast. But when you find out how he ended up falling off a 4th floor balcony, you're just like, I didn't know people lived like that. Like, just amazing.
Yeah, that's that game in itself. I mean, going to Llanelli, I'd never been to Llanelli before. Going there, you know, Galt's made his debut in there, had a worldie, man of the match. We win 1-0. We have a breakaway. You know, we come away with 3 points and think, and that's where then we started talking about, you know, getting Chris back into routine of playing, having been in America and doing everything else, and what makes you tick, what works for me, how can we improve, what you need to work on, what do you think you need to work on before I do it, you know. And very early on, if he'd concede a goal, which didn't happen very often, he'd tell me what had gone wrong before, and then go, what do you think? Well, that goalkeepers don't do that anymore. You know, of saying like, oh, that happened, and I think blah, 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 blah. Because Amanda recorded a load of stuff, when Amanda was back,
that was brilliant.
We'd look at it, and then Chris could go, oh, my foot, I've led with my wrong foot, I've done that. So from a self-analysis perspective, half the time he'd do it anyway.
So we got promotion your first season with us, so your second season at Llanrumney. Any other season we've won the league, but we end up against the double relegated Barry Town and we miss out by a point. Do you remember the crucial goal when we played them at home that swung it their way? And it's like, I can still see it now. We were 1-0 down with about 4 or 5 games to go, and then we go 2-1 up, don't we? From one, at least one of them was a long throw.
And across from the I know.
And then I bring on Ben Luck, and John Cottrell is linesman on the far side, and we're in the 3rd or 4th minute of stoppage time, and Ben Luck stands his ground, puts his leg out in front of the defender and clips the ball away, and Delve starts running away with the ball, and Cottrell's flagging like this. Free kick comes in, and what does Palmer do?
He does the thing he'd done all season.
No one's anywhere near him, so he could just let the ball go out for a goal kick. And what did he do? Did he try and
tried to chest it back down, and it just skimmed off his chest and into the bottom corner.
Yeah, and there is Barry Town's title right there. But that was a great season and a great team, wasn't it? And, you know, for all the Dr. Hoofball stuff I get over the years, like, there was a lot of
We played good football.
football played in that team, wasn't there, on that stadium. But what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts even in that team on back passes, Chris? Because it's the
Don't.
It's all right, like when there's no striker chasing you down, but it always used to wind me up when a right back or a centre half would look at you and the striker's chasing them down, and they'll hold it, and then lay it back to you. And then like go, oh, why didn't you play it out to the wing back? And you're like, you're 30 yards up the field. You could have just fucking whacked it up there yourself, you prick. Like,
Mate, you've got to look at it, right? Look at the. I mean, we've joked about it quite often. This thing with the goal kicks. There was one, Palace did it yesterday. The centre-back took the goal kick, passed it into the goal to Henderson, who hoofed it up the pitch. Thinking, just fucking do it. but they've done that. Have you seen the Barnet goal? The Barnet goalkeeper?
Oh,
he's encouraged to bring it out. He's brought it to the right, where the right back is stood, takes a touch. You can see the guy running him, takes a touch, tries to chop inside, the winger takes the ball off and puts it in the net.
Do you know what's sad now?
Going,
I get people tagging me in goals like that. I get people WhatsApping me clips of goals like that. Right? Every time a goal like that is scored, right? Do you remember Jeffers?
Yep.
The keeper? He's obviously now a referee, right? And he's sort of climbing up through the ranks and that. And he was watching the game last week, I think it was, and he's like, I'm watching so-and-so game. It's 1-0 to blah-de-blah. Guess how the goal was scored? I'm like, I thought it must be like an 8-second violation for a ref to be telling me. And he's like, nope, goalkeeper playing it short from a goal kick, 1-0. So there's people now, right? I mean, wicked lad Jeff, isn't he, right? But like guys, people I haven't spoken to for years now. Every time a goal is scored like that, I seem to get tagged or a video sent to me or something. It's like, well, you don't have to convince me. I know this bollocks is going on.
madness.
So we got the promotion, and it was it was comfortable in the end. Wanted the promotion. I think Cwm and United were a team that missed out. How did you feel, Chris? Because you got a work ethic then the following year, when pre-season comes, and it couldn't have been more different to the summer that we had before, where it's one of them, where you're like, where the fuck is everyone? For weeks where they've just pied it off. And then early season, we had all those injuries. So I think after 3-4 games, I think we're in the bottom 3. Because we had Aberbargo at home and away, lost them both. Because we had like half a team, and the other half that we did have weren't fit, because they just sacked pre-season off. What are you thinking? Because you're the busiest you've ever been in our team, in our goal at that time.
At that time, I was in the States.
When, no?
The second year as well. I came back in about the October.
Oh, was it
time.
October?
Yeah, when Palmer shattered his leg. That was my first game back.
Was it? So what are you thinking when you're in America then?
I couldn't believe it, because I was like, we just gone up comfortably.
And you know it's the same squad,
yeah,
plus Dunny.
Yeah.
So you know it's the same squad.
So I was just like, oh, okay. And then I think you'd lost to like Ely Rangers, like 6-3 or something. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like this, like how have we gone from winning, keeping clean sheets galore to like conceding 6 and 7s? And I was just like, this is craziness.
Yeah. One of the things I
really
noticed
sad.
against Aberbargoed was, what's his name was manager, wasn't he? It was at Cambrian now.
Bambi.
Yeah. Was when we went up in Division 3, Sam Hartley get on the ball in the pocket, and everyone had run away from him. So he'd get on the ball, he could turn and play. I remember watching the Aberbargoed game, and Bambi had obviously knew this, that he knew half the time Sam would get the ball facing his own goal on a half turn, and he put a player on him, didn't he? Every time Sam got the ball, bang! It was like Sam couldn't get out. He couldn't turn. They literally just closed the whole room down and thought, hang on a minute here. We've only gone up one division, but we're now playing against guys who know how tactically to try and stop us. And it was like, I was thinking, fuck. Like, you know, our linchpin in the hole just couldn't get on the ball. And all he was doing was just one touch to people because he couldn't turn around.
Yeah, that was noticeable for me, that was. The league below, there was only Paul Michael and Gavin Chesterfield that were really tacticians, and they were the other two teams that come up with us. The rest of them, they'd have good motivators and good sort of coaches and stuff like that in terms of sessions, but they weren't really people that were good tactically. And it was like you went up to the second division and half the managers were pretty good at putting a plan together, and we weren't fit either.
That was a big eye-opener, that was.
Big problem, but like the so we obviously, it got to the end of the season, we got to another semi-final, and you know, it was evident that team had come to the end, wasn't it, really? Which is obviously then when I left, Rod left, and then a few weeks later we got the call and went to Porth.
I was going to Chepstow. And I remember, yeah, and I remember getting the call, I don't know if you or Dom, said, don't, we're going to go meet someone tonight, come with us. I was like, all right, fair enough. And then we went and met Hugh in...
Yeah, down in Taftswell.
Down in Taftswell.
But, so obviously you came with us initially to Porth.
Yep.
No surprise there, you two. A Parks football team when we went in. Right? I don't think too many people would be offended by that. And we managed, so you obviously weren't with us for the full season. And I wanted to make sure we covered this because the three people that are concerned here are obviously sat around the table. So we're doing okay, and I think it becomes clear that we're probably not going to go down because you come in, Dom Dwyer comes in, Nyron Bird comes in, we managed to sign in another couple of boys. And then we're playing Cwmbran Celtic at home. And you're in goal, and remind me, who was the player? Was it Bully? The one over the
Bully.
top? So Bully goes over the top on you, and you have a bit of a skirmish. But you're okay until the referee brandishes a red card for you. You're still okay.
Yep.
And then he turns to Bully and gives a yellow.
Yeah, that was it.
And what happens?
I just saw red myself, and that was it. Screaming at the ref, I'm going to kill you, and all that kind of stuff. Like, or maybe I didn't. And
so Rod's holding you back.
I
mean, like holding you back, like a scrum machine is holding back a scrum.
What I'd add to that is, right, I can see obviously what's happened. So Bully's gone over the top. He's basically 2-footed you in the bollocks, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right. Is as the red card comes out, as I've watched the ref go for his arse pocket, I start thinking, fuck, he's in trouble here. So I start running to him around the pitch thinking, fuck, this is going to kick right off. and then basically a gentle bear hug to hold him, when at one point both his arms were over my head going, fucking let me go! I was like, no, you're okay by here, mate, you'll be all right. Thinking, fuck, don't hit me. It was one of those of thinking, fuck, if I let go of him, he is going to go.
Yeah. So then we have...
Thank you.
so that's what really happened. And then we obviously, you get a white paper now. So... you're allowed representation.
Yep.
And, it's part of natural justice in the country, and to be able to put your case forward. So, of all the people you select to come and help you and speak in your hearing, you choose us two. Talk us through that thought process.
So I was thinking, because after that happened, there was a long period of time where I hadn't heard from anyone, because I just I think you thought he's gone.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, the look on your face when you left that day, I thought, he might be on a documentary in a few years' time. He's just stopped off on a way home and killed 6 people in a pub or something. You were evil when you left that ground.
I was fuming. And I was just venting, going, I'm just going to tell him exactly what I think about this ref. I'm going to go to that white paper meeting and I'm going to tell him exactly that I don't agree with the fact that they're not held accountable for their decisions, in my opinion. Yeah.
I mean,
and the injustice of the guy 2-footing me. I was I was willing to accept for throwing a punch, getting a red. I was fully fine, but I was the fact that the ball was in my hands and he's gone over me, and then he's brandished a yellow. I was that's not a yellow. You're wrong, and fuck it, I'm going for you. But luckily,
so obviously it would have. I mean, that probably would have been successful if you turned up at the hearing, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You imagine it? Turned up at the hearing and tell them, it's like that. What it is, right? have you seen Steve Bracknell online, the guy from Sheffield, the Sunday League assistant manager? And there's one of his clips is that, isn't it? Where it's him turning up at a panel and they read out a referee's report and he's gone, yep, I accept that I said all of those things. But let me tell you what's wrong with your fucking league.
It was that.
It's not going to go down well.
No.
You'd still be bad now.
Yeah, I would have.
So for those who weren't in the room, Chris and Rod have already described what actually happened that day, right, in a short version. So we go to the hearing and referee was there. I'm ashamed to say I forget his name, right? But what I will say, a nice bloke. I've always considered him to be a nice bloke, and I always rated him actually as a decent ref, right? So there's no history or anything there. But I'm obviously Rhodri's a witness, so that's why he's in the room, and I'm your representative. So we're in the hearing, and I'm talking to the referee, and I'm going, so you say that Chris had to be held back forcibly from you. Yes, that's right. And I said, so were you looking at him the whole time? Yes. And where was Josh Bull at this time? And he's like, Josh Bull was to my right. I'm like, right, okay. So you described what Josh Bull was doing to your right, and you're saying that you were looking at Chris. Roughly how much time were you looking at each then? Because you can't have been looking there and there at the same time. So roughly how much time were you looking? So would you accept that you were probably only looking at Chris half the time? Because Rod's going, no, I wasn't holding him back. I was just standing in front of him.
It's like a bit of come dancing.
Yeah. Right? So anyway, the guy's like, I'm ashamed I can't remember his name. Good bloke. And he's like, well, I suppose it must have been about half the time. Then I say, so well, that's a bit different from the whole time, isn't it? So is there anything else in your statement that you think maybe you've misremembered and all that? Anyway, long story short,
6 matches, man.
No, you got no additional ban.
No additional ban, just a fine.
High fives on the way out.
Yeah.
And the crime is. He did everything the referee said to him.
It's like trying to hold a bear.
But I'm chalking that down as just taking one back for the team. For all the times the things have been written in reports that are utter bollocks.
Oh, hang on. So I've got it, yeah.
So I'm taking one back for that. But that was I wish we could have recorded that. Nowadays, we would have put one of them on the table and just recorded it, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
What a hearing that is. But Rhodri's like,
No, see, honestly, I was just stood in front of him. So convincing. Jazz hands. They're really, they're locked on you like, Chris, I'm not letting go of you, mate. I'm not letting go of you. I'm not letting go. Fucking let you go. I'm not letting you go.
Holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have our time at Porth. What did you think that day? So obviously it's the
Aberdeen.
The following season now. Chris is obviously off doing his own thing somewhere else. So you're working with Nettie.
Yeah.
And your sessions with Nettie seem to always run well. He wasn't up for the big sweat by then, Nettie, was he?
I think what I'd say with that is Nettie, I mean...
But he liked working with you, didn't he?
Yeah.
You always enjoyed that.
Nettie was very... So obviously Chris and I had our own routine. Nettie had his own routine. He wanted to do stuff, and I was fine with that in terms of working on different things. What I'd say with Nett's a big guy, very good goalkeeper, made a save for the Quins against us at Llantwit. I would class as one of the greatest saves I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Where he's gone that way and just gone bump and saved it.
Incredible.
Amazing ability. Like he was suffering with his knee. He was suffering with carrying lots of injuries. I enjoyed working with Nett. It was great. He's a great laugh. You know, really good goalkeeper. Very serious a lot of the time. But completely different character to Galt, completely different to Fletch, who we also had for a while at Porth, and then obviously we had with Nettie for a while towards the end.
So what did you make of it? So we're second in the league. There's 8 games to go. We're away at Aberdeen Town, and in walks the committee and tells us the budget's not only struggling, it's gone.
Gone.
What did you make of it? Because I heard 2 hours before you did. When I was still seeing now, driving across the Severn Bridge on my way to Aberdeen from work, and I got the call about the budget. So what did you make of it at the time?
I think it was one of those just like I couldn't really process it because obviously I knew what was going on and what was the suggested support for the team and where it all came from, and I think it was all just gone. Was just thinking, fuck me, the amount of work we've come in here. A team that played 30 games the year before and lost 29. And that whole start of the journey and then what we've done and everything else. And the players we brought in, and, we brought in Tyrone Topper, we brought in some real good quality every year to add the good side. We were building, we were building a really strong squad of players. I think it's just one of those, just thinking like, and, you can't blame the boys either. They're on getting a bit of money and then the money goes. And one thing I would say on that is I felt a bit empty afterwards. But one thing I would say then, of that group of players that stayed for those last 8 games,
fair play to
we talked about it. Look at Tyrone Topper. Tops played. We went last game of the season. We went to Ammanford away, having had no money for 6, 7, 8 games. We had a bare 11, and me and him on the bench. And Top snapped his Achilles and never played football again. Yeah. That boy played for us for 8 games for us, and never played again after that last game of the season. So, you look at some boys just went their own direction. He never played. And you're coming away from there thinking, fucking, what a waste. But...
It was a victory for us, I think, to get to the end of the season, really.
It was. I didn't think that once they said the money was gone.
So then for you, very different to me, but for you, after a very, 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 very long flirtation with STM Sports, with your work colleague Nigel Bircham at the helm of the club, we find ourselves in the dugout at STM. So, do
you want me to tell you about it?
What do you make of that entire experience? I still can't describe it, but from your own perspective, because obviously you had more history with the club than I did when we went in there. What do you make of it now, all these years on?
I think so. The bit at the start before we'd gone in as a group was, and I can't remember the year. It's the year that STM got promoted into the Welsh League. They were playing Ynys Gerwyn, I think, on Cardiff City Stadium. Right. And it's one of those that, I was registered. They registered me as a player, but what's the guy's name who's managing him? I forgot his name. Played up front, scored loads of goals.
Walker, the manager?
Yeah, Walker. So I was signed to play, but Chris Kane was playing in goals for him. So I was doing a load of work, like what we do with Kamo, and Kimo was developing and coming on and everything else. And there was talk right up until that Saturday morning. They were meeting up in the old Henry Morgan on the hill. There was talk right up until that morning of having breakfast. They were going to play me in the cup fight, in the playoff. I was like, you can't do that. You can't just bring me in from nowhere. So I was on the bench. And we'd done a load of work, and we'd done the whole warm-up, and the Cardiff City Stadium being in the dressing room was amazing. But it got to a point playing against Enniskerwin, Walker started with a 4-5-1, and you could just see playing against Enniskerwin, we just sat a flat four, the back four won't come out. I think it was 1-1 half-time. And I went in, and Walker just looked at me and went, what should I do? And I was like, asking me. So it was like, there was a flip chart in the corner. So I got the flip chart down. You're going for, you were doing that.
Oh, your flip chart one.
No, it gets better than that. You got the badge. It gets better than that.
We got the badge.
I fucking love the badge.
He was right. You trusted the process, right? You know.
So there's flip chart. So literally, all I looked at was just saying, right, in terms of how they do it, changed it. Nipper couldn't get in the game. So just changed it to a diamond, put Nipper in the 10, put Josh, Graham and Lam in up front. And then literally they went out and they won the game 4-1. And what I have got, which is quite funny with that, and why I said the flip chart, after the game, I got a pen, signed it, ripped it off, gave it to Nigel. He's still got in his house.
Is he really?
Nice.
So they got promoted. They got promoted into the Welsh League with that. So I had a little bit of involvement from that.
Nigel, I know you watched this. What a shit bit of memorabilia that is.
worth a lot of money, that is, right? So yeah, got promoted there and helped them a little bit, and then I stepped away. Then obviously we got involved with the first team in general. What I think I would say is, what an incredible bunch of individual players, and I think that's the key thing. Is when you look at your Lammy, you look at Josh Graham, what he's gone out to do, Nipper. We had Curtis Scotto.
Dale Gardner,
the boys we had there in general were going forward. Well, it was just incredible. I remember playing that game against Porth. We won 18-0, didn't we? And literally,
I got murdered for that.
If you remember though,
you were playing, weren't you?
No, he wasn't. He was away. We had one of the youth team.
You had Ethan in goals.
Ethan was in goals.
Oh, of course we did. Yeah, the young kid. But we didn't need a keeper.
It was one of those.
So you could have brought him out.
It was one of those where we were winning. Killed. I think it was 10-0 half time.
It was 10-0 half time.
And he was our striker at Porth. He was manager at the time.
No, Brocky.
Brocky was manager. Brocky went down injured. They only had 12 players, and they were playing a format. They were playing 3-5-2. I said, I went over and I was helping because they didn't have anyone helping them. So when I did the first day to the Brocky, I went, Brock, for fuck's sake, change to 4-4-2. I can literally, mate, do yourself a favour.
You got Lamin and Josh Graham on the wings, and you haven't got no fullbacks. They're 3 men on the wings.
So we had that, and that's one thing I'd say on it is they're a great group of individual players. It's not like here where you've got all the youth team coming through and all that. It's all about the first team. They've gone through all those leagues. They got to the Welsh League. They're playing over the way there on the 3G, playing brilliant football, and winning games. But then what you've got to realise, and I've had this conversation with Nigel for years, is eventually you come to a level, like we're talking about your Aberbargoids and all that stuff, where you come to a level, you come up against coaches who just go, do you know what? They're a bit soft on crosses. So get the ball wide, just clip in the box. They're going to, the defenders will duck, the goalkeeper won't come, and all those things. Then realising that actually you can't just play FIFA every game. It can't be tiki-taka all the time. And I think that's probably the hardest thing, and some of them didn't buy into it, how we play in certain ways. You're going, right, you protect your own third, and sometimes you have got to play the channel and play high. And once that happens, in a large group of them who socialise separately, don't buy into it, we were almost onto a loser straight away. Trying to apply our way of playing, like from playing in goals, and you'd see all sorts of stuff in front of you. You'd think 4 passes ago, play it forward. It's all that whole pass, which is great. But when you come to a certain level where teams go bang bang, you're out the game.
Do you remember you were in goals by the time this happened? So. Like Guardiola famously says, the last 2/3 are mine, the final third is yours. I actually had to submit, the penalty area is mine, you can have the rest of the pitch, like a compromise. and even that wasn't acceptable. Like, what do you mean I can't Cruyff turn in my own 6-yard box? Like,
So I think that's really, incredible ability, individual skill all chucked in together. And those individually, those boys have gone on. Josh is doing really well now with Newport City.
Yeah, good players.
Scotto's doing really well as a goal scorer. Very good players. All gone on to do lots of things.
In fairness, I think that's what cost you the jobs in the end was the Scotto injury, because we had phenomenal talent and he was an incredible striker, but that one injury, and then we just.
In fairness,
it started crumbling.
In fairness, we were second in the league, 2 points off top with the game in hand. So
It's true, yeah.
it wasn't like we were struggling.
I think we'd only lost 2 games at that point. I couldn't believe it.
No, we lost our first league game, the last game before Christmas. We took a hiding down upon a Pontyclun, didn't we, on a bog. And,
with Danny scored a worldie ball.
Yeah, it
A
was
volley from like 30 yards. or
yeah,
something.
Danny Hooper
Straight
right
in
in
the
the
top corner.
stanchion,
It was
wasn't it?
ridiculous.
Hell of a goal. They ran us ragged that day. But again, to Rod's point about tactics, they'd come up through the league with STM. So they did a job on Nipper that day. They did a job on not Scotto, someone else that day. Lamin, that's right. And he got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lashing out, because they know they can get him to lash out. So it's just that little bit of nous that the Broad brothers had about, and they knew the opposition, which was just that little difference that day.
I got sent off that day at all.
Did you?
Yeah. I had a row with their dad.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's not like you, Rod. So that's probably a good little bridge into a conversation that we got to have then, because obviously Llanrumney United is the last senior club, and then obviously you're coaching now. So we'll get to Llanrumney United now. So quite famously, you and referees have had some interesting relationships over the years. So how would you sort of put that in a nutshell? And
Look at how long we got. No, I think I've always said, and I try and instill this in the kids as well, is that I'm coaching now, is the hardest thing I find with referees are the ones it's just all the whistle. Like, if you go, Chris, come here. Calm down. All right, no problem. Fine. It's when it's and I'm going, ref, just fucking talk to it. And it's like, you know their name or number. Come to me. Listen, chill out, calm down. Not here to, and then like you turn away because you're like, well, I don't know who you're talking to, and then, mate, come on. You've got that aspect of it. You've also got some of the ones who we've talked about previously who try and antagonise you and try and get a reaction. It's like it's like lighting the touch paper. You say something to me, I'm going to go. And that's the thing. And once I've gone, I can't stop. I know that. And I think that's, I have had a few over the years. Had a few run-ins with linesmen as well. When you go on about respect, refs, I understand the refs go on about respect, but it's 2 ways. Some of the best ones you see are the ones who talk to you at the start of the game and go, I'm by myself, I haven't got any linesmen, I'll do my best. I give what I see, no problem. But it's the ones who lie, and then the ones who, no, that didn't happen, and you're like, mate, come on.
so we've had him a few times over the years, right? Have you ever shouted at Kevin Morgan?
No.
I've never shouted at Kevin Morgan. Kevin Morgan makes mistakes. Of course he does. But just the guy, the way he is, his persona, his personality out there, the way he deals with difficult situations, the way he'll explain something, if it's not, I don't think there's any better than him.
I think my two for me, and I get on well with Bouch, and I get on, is the two for me have always been the best in terms of how they explain it. Is Kev and Clive Lane. Is, they'll explain it to you, and you're fully respectful to it. You give them a little bit of a joke about it, but the way that they manage the game, and I think that's the part of it, is you manage the players, you manage the people, you manage the game.
Do you know the mad thing last year? We were in a cup game. I think it was like quarter-final with Pencoed, and Clive Lane's reffing. And we're 1-up, but we haven't got any strikers, so we're like happy days. Down at Grange Albion. Now, Grange Albion haven't had a shot. It's like 88th minute. Ball gets played over the top. Our captain sort of flicks it on, runs away. It's about 3 yards from the goal line. he turns on the ball and plays it up the line, and Clive gives a corner, right? And the ball comes in, and guess what happened? Equalised, penalty shootout. We go out on penalties to a team from 2 leagues below, right? I can't say I was like dying to go and hug Clive Lane in that moment, but I couldn't have a pop at him because of the credit that I feel he's built up with me in the bank over the years. Of he gets it right, he gets it wrong. He's not doing it with ego. He's not doing it with annoy, you know, and the way he explains things and the way I've seen him own up to things over the years when he maybe hasn't got it right and he did exactly the same that day. He said, look, you might well be right, but from my angle, it looked like it was out, so I didn't want to be penalising, but stood there and explained it, not only to, I didn't need an explanation, but our manager wasn't happy, and he stood and explained it. He didn't go into his room and hide or anything like that, because I think he could tell from the player reactions that, oh, I've dropped one there. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what you look for, and that is what we've spoken about before. That's what the young guys just ain't got. Can't even look you in the eye. That's the thing for me. And
I think last one I was saying on referees is obviously I went to watch a game. I won't say where it was on Saturday, but but I'm on the touchline and I'm away team score a goal. They go 2-1 up. Ask the referee, excuse me, referee, how long is left, please? I'm a supporter. He could have told me to fuck off. You've played 92 of the 96. Thank you very much. No problem. Play goes on. Tackle in a corner. Melee. I timed the melee. It's just over 2 minutes. Right? It goes on. Ref, you played 97 and 96. Yeah, I can count, was the response I had. Right? Ref, you played 98 of the 96. I can still count. All right, fair enough. So, but 96 plus 2, which is what happened over there, game over. 99 minutes, game over. Ref, you played 100 minutes to the 96, free kick, goal, equaliser, as they kick off, blew up. So where'd that extra time come from? Oh, there was at least 4 minutes for that over there, so 2 minutes 12, I counted it. 96 plus 2 is 99.
what is that? How does that happen, by the way, right? Because like, there's the just generally in football of all levels, pro game and everything, right? How does that happen? How do you play 45 minutes and they say 3 minutes added time? And in the 3 minutes added time, they find ways to add 6 more from 3 minutes. And you're like, well, how is that even possible? And that's the thing that as a manager or whatever, that's the thing that makes your brain explode. When you go, how long? And they go, 2. And 7 minutes later, you're still playing. You're like, what's going on?
We're walking off. So literally said the manager coming off. I said, like, he told me 96, you played 101. Right? And it was the way that he was just strutting off like, no. You're like, mate, you either not counted it properly, which clearly you haven't, or you've just added on an extra minute, but you've played 101 minutes. How? There's no other break in the game. And rather than going, do you know what? I might have fucked that up. You go, oh,
do you know what is entirely possible? I've done it myself, reffing kids. You forget to start your watch again when something happens, and now you're winging it. Do you know what I mean?
Thinking, please don't go in, please don't go in, please don't go in. Oh, fuck.
I know the good ones have got 2 and stuff like that, but, you know, anyway. So, anyway, then the last big job, coaching-wise, Rod, obviously, because, you know, we got work in the morning. Llanrumney United.
Well, before we started,
so what a journey.
Before we started coaching, I think, you know, we came back when Llanrumney were in the bottom 6, was it?
Yeah.
Going into the parks where, you know, Stitz was managing. He'd asked Gareth to come back involved. I came back to play. Dom Dwyer came back or came into play
on one leg.
And I think, you know, we managed to stay up. You know, we had the great escape.
That was a great escape.
You know, I remember did we draw 0-0 or did we beat Aberfan 1-0 down here?
0-0.
Where it was just one of those games whereby we couldn't score. They had that big guy came on at the end, could have scored. I made a save of it. Fuck knows how I did it. But it's one of those, we had the great escape. We stayed up. Back to what we're saying about a great group of people, like we're talking about Broadway snooker. Those boys were such a great bunch of people to be with in the dressing room. You know, they would have gone to war for you. You know, your Ryan Ford, bless him, who's no longer with us. You know, Carmos, people like that who would literally smash through a wall for you. You know, obviously we stayed up. Then you come in. We obviously moved the ground. We moved the pitch to where it is. I sold you the dream on what was going to be in terms of.
Just pull you up on one minute. When you say we moved the pitch,
Well, I didn't do
how much did you help that summer?
less than Ben Stipthal.
Your contribution was you turned up once with a bag of drinks for us. That was his contribution to building the fucking ground, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
My only surprise is turning up with a bag of drinks is it meant you got a fucking round in.
I think I took them from Dad's garage.
Probably.
I think I did.
Probably. Because I'd be amazed if you bought that much beer.
Anyway, you prick. So we moved the pitch to obviously where it is or was outside the dressing rooms. That's now the BMX park. Sold Chris the dream. Got him back. Got him involved. You know, and then we rebuilt a team from that period. We obviously won the double that year. Brought in some great players. Then
So
we
that
won.
first season, the championship season in Division 2, you got run over, didn't you?
Yeah.
and then
Dickhead.
What, was it knocked off your bike?
I got knocked off my bike on the way home from work.
And
on
then,
the Friday.
On the Friday.
It was Rowley's cousin.
And then, like, by this mad coincidence, the next day, the electrics didn't work in the fucking changing room, did they? And our game against Aberfan got called off.
Lucky
I mean,
that.
that was lucky, that, wasn't it? But, like, obviously then that game got put back to the end of the season. So it was Aberfan's last game, our penultimate game. If they win, they're champions. If we draw, we have to win the following week to be champions. If we win, we just have to not lose by 20 to STM Old Boys to be champions the next week.
Yeah.
And young Keaton Lammy pulls it off, 1-0 win.
Yep.
A few days later, we've got a cup final.
Yeah, Treforest.
That the South Wales FA are told all day is underwater up at Treforest.
I was there. Me and Stipthal went there. I was literally going, it's a lake.
It's underwater. Treforest's main man, Lawrence Badman, is ringing me all day going, guys, underwater. We all travel up there on coaches and everything, game off. Do you remember the night out?
Oh, it was class.
We were back in the crossing by about, 7?
Yep.
And I reckon we left it about 1:30 in the morning, didn't we?
So when Gary had it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would have been apples one.
Absolute, what a night out that was. And then we played the following week and win the double.
Yeah.
And how close did you come from going the entire tournament, the South Wales FA Cup, without conceding?
It was a penalty.
It was.
late on.
Was it
It
like,
was
how late was it though?
We were 4-0 up, weren't we?
4-0, but it was maybe like 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And if Lammy doesn't bring him down, you'd have gone the entire tournament without conceding a goal.
Yeah.
Like,
Some
not a
record.
bad season, is it?
No.
And then,
See, that's where I'm fucked off. He conceded one.
a penalty though. Gotta let him
Could've
off,
saved
innit? Gotta let him off. So, obviously we got our promotion again the following year on points per game average, but we would have done it comfortable anyway, because we lost one game at home in 2 years on that pitch, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had 8 games left and 7 of them were at home, all of them against teams from the bottom half. So we were good.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's then where you start hitting injury problems then once we're up. We obviously we go up to the Premier, and then you start having your problems. So now you're working with Ryan Fleming mainly the rest of the time at Llanrumney.
Well, and Stitz when he wasn't crying.
Stitz, honestly. Yeah, he didn't have a decent record as goalkeeper under us,
He
actually.
was great
Stitz.
when he played, just in the warm-up. He just...
Yeah, but he wanted to do Cruyff turns all the time.
Yes.
Stitz. Just to wind me up, like. I used to call him Veron, didn't I?
Yeah.
To think he was Veron with gloves on, like. But what made you decide you were finishing then? Because we obviously had a cup final against Cardiff Cottage. We then lose on penalties. So you nearly went out on a high. But
Nearly.
But what sort of led you to...
I think, obviously, when knew Chris was fucked, it is a big factor with it. And I'd said to you, I think in the February, where I was just finding it harder and harder and harder, where we've worked together for so long, got set routines, that I demand that's the effort we put in of myself and of goalkeepers. And nothing against Ryan with it, but it was just a case of that, like, I'd have to change things all the time. Or like Ryan would be injured, and then I'd have to completely change it for Stitz, because Stitz couldn't do the 40 minutes that we'd go through and stuff. And I just started getting really pissed off with it.
It was our first experience ever of working with a goalkeeper, which is more important than any other player on the team in terms of commitment, because you can always play someone up front or play someone out wide, can't you?
Yeah.
A goalkeeper that would say, I'm not available next Saturday because I'm going to London to do some extra work, so do some work as an extra on a TV show. And you're like, well, does that pay a lot of money, does it? No? And you're thinking, so I now have to find a goalkeeper when we're second in the league in the Premier because you're going to go and do some work as an extra.
I said, listen, I'm done. I said, well, we didn't say anything to the players. I told him, I said, I didn't even say anything in the cup final. There was no, like, emotional farewell from me. But, like, I knew going to the cup final, I had Sam with me, and I'd also said that, you know, Sam was then coming of age, my boy, who was coming of age where I wanted to be there for games. I was coming to games down here and watching him play, and I'd have to leave at half time to go away with the first team. And I know Stitz has done the same thing. Yeah. And it's like, I was like, I'm not doing this. You know, when they're younger and it's all just a bit of fun, it's not a problem. But when he's then starting to become a good player, and, you know, I needed to be there for him, and I just thought, I put the two and two together. We went to the cup final. He came up on the bus with us. I took photos with him. You know, I got a photo that I took of my boots and my gloves and stuff in front of the goal. And it was one of those, I didn't actually go to the game thinking this is the end. But in the penalty shootout, it almost hit me like that. And I was like, fucking hell. Right, okay. I'm done now. You know, and then we walked off, congratulated the Corries, and, you know, hugged my parents who were there and my boy, and just was like, you know, it's finished, it's over. And to be honest, I don't miss it. I don't. I probably miss the dressing room banter, but then it's the dressing room banter of the boys that we played with and had. That's not there anymore. You know, a lot of the dynamic of the youngsters and stuff is very, very, very different. So I finished then. I had a year watching Sam play. Last summer, we moved away from Llanrumney so we could have some. I wanted him to have some game time away and you know, get used to play full games. He's doing really well. We finished third the first season. You know, he's an old school number 9. We've talked about it a few times. You've refed him. He's hard work at times. He plays on the edge. Other coaches come over to me and say, "Can you have a word with your 9?" I'm like, "Nope." You know, I want him to play on the edge. I want him to be like an old school 9. I personally, I would love to see him in a Llanrumney shirt out there one day, and he can do it. But that's it.
Yeah. So just like in closing on that, Rod, what do you enjoy about, you know, coaching the under 14s as they were now, under 15s, like because it's very different.
Yeah, so I think from our side, mine's Pontprennau, and a lot of the boys, they all go to school together in Broedden, but a large portion of that are from Kincoed and everything else. So, you know, they are on holiday in Easter, they're on holiday in February half term. August, I wanted to have a friendly on the 9th and the 16th. I had 4 available for both dates. We got friendlies on the 23rd and the 30th. I got 13 available. I've only got 18 in the squad now. We did have 24. That went to 22. It's now 18. Because I can only pick 16. And trying to talk to the parents about, you know, you can only pick 16 on a day. And there's that... It's the happy medium whereby in rugby, every player's got to be given half an hour. Now, I spoke to the players at the start of that season and said, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to be fair or do you want to win? Everyone's like, want to win. I'm like, fine, okay. So then, you know, I'll have sometimes some of the guys will say, oh, so-and-so's on the bench and you haven't played yet. I'm like, we're winning 2-1. You know, we're beating top of the league 2-0 at home. You'll have 5 minutes in, like, towards the end. I'm not putting them on to rotate them into to all that stuff. So that's one of the things I find frustrating. But what I enjoy with the whole thing is they do, the way we play and the way we try to get them to play is they do take it on board. I got to remember they are kids. I mean, they played in a tournament over here not long ago, in the Llanrumney tournament. And, you know, I was overly critical of Sam because he had 4 one-on-ones, he hit the keeper 4 times. Now, the other flip side of that is, well, you're in the position and you know, you're in the position to do that and hit the keeper rather than you're not in the right position. So
there's no prizes for chances, though. We were talking about Chris Colvin earlier on, weren't we? The difference between, for the first 70 minutes on Saturday for our first league game, we had 4 chances, scored 1 of them. They had 2 chances, scored them both, thanks to Chris Colvin.
And I think
and then they ran away.
That's one of the things I'm trying to get Sam to do. So I know we talked at Stance about it. I want to try and get Sam down to watch Jordan play.
Yeah.
For Baglan, because he hasn't ever seen Jordan play for a monster. I want him to see how he plays. I want him to see how Chrissy Colvin plays. And be like, right, this is what I'm saying to you in Welsh League standard football of how to play as a 9. Is like I've said, it's not all running that way. He's very creative. He's very team mentality, but it's that whole thing about taking it to the next level. And what have you got to do to get to that level?
Yeah.
But I think what you said about the Llanrumney thing being here, that's his end goal. That's his target. He wants to come back. He wants to play here on this pitch. That's his desire.
So we, I think I thought about how we sort of try and wrap it up, and initially I thought the way to wrap it up would be to talk about what you're doing now. But I thought, I actually think the best way to finish is probably to talk about, obviously, firstly, your relationship with Stephen Healy that we spoke about earlier on, your captain as a kid, but also just a little bit about, obviously, Stephen was tragically killed in Afghanistan in service many years ago now. It was actually Sam's christening, wasn't it? Your son's christening the day we found out. And but all the work that's gone in ever since, really. So how many years now has the memorial game been going? Is it 11 years?
Steve passed in May 2012. Did sadly find out during my boy's christening that he'd passed, which was challenging. But yeah, I think what we've done is, what we tried to do with the family's blessing is, our team when we were kids obviously went separate ways at 14, 15, 16. And what we wanted to do was almost, in Steve's memory, bring everybody back together. So once a year, we did the first one in the August, which was on ITV Wales News, next door to the university.
I missed 2 absolute sitters on TV, mate. Yeah, you'd have been proud of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were disgraceful misses.
Horrendous.
Against Rod as well.
I was on camera. So yeah, we played the first one in 2012, and what we try and do is our old Llanrumney team, or as close as can be, and now we've got our kids involved. Sam played with me this year, but we always try and play against like a friends and family 11. So Gareth, Dave Blackwell, and a load of the other family and friends and stuff who want to play. So we've done that since 2012. Obviously, we lost the COVID year, but we tried to do it in local communities. So we always play on the university here, who've been amazing for us over the last 12 years. It's been pissing down with rain, and the university would normally call a game off, and they've literally sponged the ground and made a pitch for us. They've always been really accommodating, really supportive. We've had the fundraising dues in there. We've had it down the community centre. We've been to Rhodri Morgan. We've been down to Thackeray. We've been to the Rumney Cons. What we just try and do is do a bit of a raffle, a bit of an auction, and then we just try and do a bit of a fundraiser every year. And Steve used to do a load of charity work, so we carry that on and do that every year. We're getting older, it's getting harder, but the younger kids, our children, are coming through and playing. So yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff for charity. And the other thing that I have done a few times over the years since he's passed is this will make people laugh who don't know me, is I've actually done a couple of half marathons.
I'm glad you brought the half marathon up. I get to tell
You've got the photo, haven't you?
So my little boy, he's now 6'1" and bearded, but like when he was little, Rod's running the half marathon, right? And I get a phone call from my dad. We're at like mile 7 by Roath Park Lake, something like that.
No, it's the
8.
No, 8 is by the Claude. 9 is where...
Trust you to know the fucking pubs.
mile 8 is by the Claude, where Dad used to be.
Right.
Kerry Evans used to be at Roath Park Rec, which was mile 9. And
Okay.
then at the turn,
Right.
you were like mile 10.
Okay, so anyway, mile 10. Right, that's even worse for you, by the way, with the story I'm about to tell, right? So mile 10.
I don't know what I was going to say. I don't give a fuck.
So, bearing in mind, by mile 10, speed has kind of evened out, hasn't it? The faster ones will have worked their way through and the slower ones will have worked their way back. So
you're
anyway,
the man with the cross.
me and Ryan are there anyway, Ryan. Anyway, there's a guy dressed as Jesus with a massive cross on his back on a wheel. Right, and he's obviously done 10 miles with this thing, right? Lecturing everyone going past, the boring bastard. But anyway, right, he's going like that. 3-legged man runs down the road. All this, right? There's someone on fucking stilts comes past. Anyway, right, I'm thinking, Rod will be here now. Anyway, so Rod obviously knows that me and Ryan are by the park gates. So anyway, you know, I did the trumpet earlier on, right? I looked to my left and coming towards us here, he's obviously spotted us, and here's Roddy sidestepping everyone, right? Comes over, gives Ryan a wicked high five. Brilliant, right? Ryan's chuffed to beans, right? Rod powers off, and we're like, go on, Rod, you legend, like that, right? Because, like, we ain't running it. He is. Fair play, like, right? So he's powering past all these people who we've just spoken about. So he thinks we've gone home.
I don't. I know exactly what you're going to do.
But anyway, we just thought, well, they're going to run around the lake and then they're going to go back that way, aren't they? So we'll just walk across there now. I'll get you an ice cream, Ryan, and we'll cheer Rod on as he comes back past, because that's mile 11 now, isn't he? And he's going to be knackered. We'll give him some encouragement.
Fucking dead.
Right? So, bearing in mind, he's gone down the road, right? So we whispered then out, and we're like, it's about fucking 8, 9, 10 minutes later, whatever. Here comes Jesus.
Walking, I think.
Here comes the fucker on the stilts. Here comes the 3-legged man. Where the fuck is Rodders? He's like someone dressed as a caterpillar. And behind the caterpillar is Rhodri.
All I said to anyone was...
He'd hit the wall.
Honestly, I hit them all at mile 9. What I've always said to anyone that is, right, and I remember saying when you did in the boxing, I said to the family, I said, I'm going to run the half marathon next year. And they went, fuck off, right, you're not going to run the half marathon, you can't run the end of the road. I said, I'll do the half marathon next year. And that's the one thing I said to everyone. I said to people in work, I said, take the piss all you want, just give me your money.
Yeah.
Just
Didn't you
genuinely
do
do
it
it.
3 times?
Yeah. I did it the third time I did it. The first time I trained really hard. I used to run to...
Legs and back.
Greg's at Coed Kernew, prick. Greg's at Coed Kernew, so I did that. There was 10 mile. That was 10-mile track and back to the LG.
Yeah.
So I did that the first time, and then I did the run. Second time I did about half the training. The third time I did it, hungover.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's my best time.
No way.
So the moral of the story, fuck your treat, just drink the Madri.
Get on the Greg's and drink your Madri. But yeah, that's what we did for that. I have vaguely muted. I might do it in 2026 because of the significance of the year for doing that. So I might do it in 2026, but I'm trying to talk myself into it rather than talk myself out of it. But yeah, we've done a lot. Yeah, we continue to do that every year.
People still keep turning up all these years later.
Yeah, and I got to say, a lot of the people we do raffle prizes where what we say is, every ticket's a rat £5. The worst thing you win is a £5 bottle of wine. But we've got, people have been really really supportive and hospitable. We've got vouchers. We've had golf things that Gareth's got for us. We've had a lot of very generous offerings over the year that's helped. People still turn up. We try and do it as a get together for all the families, because the parents, a lot of the football mums and that are still friends. Try and get all the families together. Now the younger kids are coming through. I think the family enjoy that element as well. Speaking to Stephen's dad, so trying to get everyone together once a year. We do that. We are thinking about trying to do something more significant when it's the 15th anniversary in 2027. So we'll try and do like a dinner or something a bit more formal. But
There was a dinner once, wasn't there?
yeah, in the Park Plaza.
It was fucking rat-arsed.
Oh yeah.
It was a good one, was it?
Yeah, what we all did though is
and not only that, right, my mum put me to shame.
Oh, yeah.
She was the most drunk person on planet Earth. And
battered.
Jesus
But what everyone did was, it was in Park Plaza, and because it was so expensive, Park Plaza, everyone else went over the Wetherspoons over the road, and then kept coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're thinking of trying to do something like that. But yeah, you know, we've raised over 30 grand for charity since he passed, which is amazing. This year we did the most we've ever done, because we've done something a little bit different in terms of auction prizes. But yeah, still going really strong.
We've had an email, and you don't know this bit, but we've had an email from someone suggesting a charity match in the future of the Hoofball Podcast charity, of people who've appeared on the podcast. So you're fucked now, you're playing. You'll have to be out because you're injured. You can't play in goals. But the of people that have appeared on the podcast to play against someone else, to raise money for charity. So no more obvious charity than Stephen's charity, is there? So that's probably one to think about for the future, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd definitely be here, yeah. Unless someone wants to donate to charity to hold it at their ground, you know what I mean? Hint, hint, Richie Ryan, match your budget.
I'm sure, yeah. That'd be good. That'd be good to do. And I think that's what we've always said is, while it gets harder physically every year to do it, the people still turn up. We'll always do it. So we have joked about we'll play Skittles, we'll do other things, but actually we'll carry on.
My favourite suggestion was Stephen's brother Simon a couple of years ago that suggested that we knock the game on the head and we all just go to Benidorm. I'm in favour of that.
I didn't know that was on the case. I'll do that instead.
Yeah.
Last year he was absolutely shit-faced going on the pitch.
I'm glad you mentioned why I was so bad. I mean, I'm bad nowadays anyway, but Man United won the cup the day before. Yeah. And Ethan Mackey's feeding me shots at 1 a.m. up at the cons. I've gone up with the car, intending to drink shandy. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving, and the next day I'm on the pitch playing against his
setting
team.
the room up with Sam about 10:30 in the morning. The fire door opens, he walks in. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
The barmaid, we went to the same place after the match, and I walked in, and she went, "All right, how are you today then?" And I looked at her as if to say, "Why are you asking me like that?" She went, "You were a bit pissed last night." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?" She went, "No, you were great, but you were hammered," like that. And I'm thinking, if people that don't even really know me are going, "Oh, that's that guy from last night," I thought, oh, it must have been bad. But I was beyond a joke.
Waste of space. But yeah, so that's the idea with it. I think that's a great shout if whoever's emailed you that.
Yeah, it was good.
If someone can put another team together.
Well, it's definitely doable, isn't it? But, if that's going to happen, we're going to have to start being a little bit more selective with guests, aren't we? So, I mean, because we're going to need to try and get a couple of people in there that can still play a bit. Because at the moment, apart from Stanton in goals, we're all retired.
Well, I fuck, can I? Can we play 3 of us in goals? Yeah. And we won't lose.
Nah, you could be sub, Rod. You're all right, Stan. You're my number 1, mate.
No, you can go on the bench.
No, you throw his toys again and fucking storm off to the train station.
There's a train about half hour from here if you want to go down.
So no, we got some Haribos. So, well, listen, it's been good to go in a bit of a different direction. I think we got to thank our guest co-host today.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for coming. Like I say, I'm still not sure who loves you more, Rhodri or your wife. But absolute pleasure to have you both to talk about it. And yeah, well, we'll see. We'll all be watching out now for Pontprennau Pumas Under 15s.